What if I told you that the fate of our global economy is intertwined with the state of our climate? Intriguing, isn't it? But this is the reality we're living in, a reality that demands our immediate attention and action. Our global economy, in its current form, is a complex web of interactions and transactions, expanding and contracting, ebbing and flowing. It's the pulse of our civilization, the heartbeat of human activity. But like any heartbeat, it's influenced by the environment in which it operates, and that environment is our planet's climate. Now let's talk about global warming. It's not a far-off threat, but an immediate crisis. Our planet is heating up and the impacts are far-reaching. Rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and shifting habitats for flora and fauna are just the tip of the rapidly melting iceberg. And these aren't just environmental issues, they directly affect economies from local to global scales. Why? Because economies are not isolated entities. They're deeply connected to the natural world, whether through agriculture, fisheries, forestry, or even tourism. When climate patterns shift, when habitats are lost, economies feel the shockwaves. And these shockwaves ripple out, influencing everything from food prices to job markets. Moreover, the economic decisions we make today are not just about dollars and cents. They're about CO2 emissions and carbon footprints. They're about the fuels we burn, the resources we consume, and the waste we generate. Our economic activities are major drivers of global warming. So, we find ourselves at a crossroads. On one hand, we have an economic system that's deeply intertwined with the state of our climate. On the other, we have a climate crisis that's being exacerbated by our economic activities. It's a complex problem, and it demands an innovative solution. Now you might wonder, what's the solution? It's time to introduce a novel concept: human economic value. This is a revolutionary idea that redefines our understanding of economic value, linking it directly to our most precious resource, our planet. But more on that in the next scene, stay tuned. Human economic value, or HEV, is a revolutionary concept that aims to add intrinsic value to life to manage inelastic demand, or demand that is a need. Intriguing, right? Indeed, it's a radical shift from traditional economic views, but let's delve into it. Imagine a world where every human life has a calculated economic value, and this value isn't based on their bank balance, assets, or social status. Instead, it's based on their inherent human worth, their right to basic needs like shelter, education, healthcare, and food. That's the essence of human economic value. It's an economic concept that places a high value on human life and the basic needs that sustain it. Now let's throw in a new global currency into the mix, the omega. This isn't just any currency though, instead it's a currency that represents this intrinsic human economic value. The omega isn't tied to gold or oil or any traditional form of value, instead it's tied to the land and forest size of a nation. It's a currency that looks beyond mere trade and commerce, focusing on the health of our planet and the well-being of its inhabitants. The idea behind the omega is to manage trade amongst countries equally, relative to their land size and forest size. The more forest cover a nation has, the more omegas it commands, encouraging a green economy and promoting the preservation of our natural resources. But that's not all. This revolutionary concept of HEV also introduces the idea of an oxygen economy. It's a system where trees become the backing of our currency, rather than gold or oil. The more trees a country plants, the more omegas it earns, thus encouraging a culture of conservation and environmental responsibility. The human economic value isn't just about economics, it's about human dignity, environmental preservation, and sustainable growth. It's a radical yet fascinating approach to reshaping our global economy and promoting a healthier planet. But how does this tie into education and our fight against global warming? Imagine a world where education increases your value and income, not just figuratively, but literally. Let's delve into this intriguing concept. Under the human economic value, or HEV system, there's a direct correlation between your level of education and your income. But it's not just about the income you earn from your job, it's about a universal income, paid by universities, for the very act of learning. Now let's clarify that. Imagine stepping into a lecture hall. Not just to broaden your horizons, but to increase your income. Every seminar attended, every paper written, every exam aced, it's not just about grades, but about economic value. But how does this work? Each individual's human economic value is set at 1 million omega, the new global currency proposed to manage trade amongst countries equitably. But here's the twist. The higher your education, the more of this value you can access. There are 144 levels of education allowing you to earn up to 12 degrees from universities. Each level corresponds to an increase of 1.44% of your HEV. So, the more you learn, the more you earn. This creates a powerful incentive for people to pursue higher education. It's not just about personal growth or career prospects anymore, it's about increasing your economic value, and in turn, contributing to the global economy. This shift in perspective could revolutionize the way we view education and income. It could democratize access to higher education, as the prospect of a guaranteed income breaks down financial barriers. It could encourage lifelong learning, as there's always an incentive to reach the next level. But the beauty of this system lies not just in its potential to transform education and income, it's in its potential to cultivate a society that values learning, not just for its economic benefits, but for the inherent value of knowledge itself. But the benefits of HEV don't stop at income and education. The brilliance of the HEV system lies in its integration with our fight against global warming. Imagine a world where the value of a nation's currency is not merely tied to gold reserves or economic output, but to the very land and forests it nurtures. This is the fundamental principle of the human economic value system, which introduces a new global currency, the omega, whose value is intrinsically linked to the size of a country's land and forest area. This ingenious approach creates what we call an oxygen economy. Why oxygen, you ask? Well, forests are the lungs of our planet, producing oxygen and absorbing carbon dioxide, a major greenhouse gas contributing to global warming. By tying the value of the omega to the size and health of a country's forests, the HEV system incentivizes nations to protect, maintain, and even grow their forest cover. In effect, countries are encouraged to become custodians of their own natural resources in a way that directly benefits their economies. It's a win-win situation. The more trees a country has, the more value it contributes to the global economy, and the more it helps in mitigating the effects of climate change. Let's take it a step further. Imagine if this revenue generated from maintaining and growing forests was used to fund universal basic income and education. This would not only lead to a more educated populace, but also help in reducing economic disparities. And it doesn't stop there. The HEV system, with its 144 levels of education, encourages lifelong learning. Each degree earned increases an individual's human economic value and the universal income they receive. Universities would even pay students for attending school, essentially investing in the collective knowledge and value of society. The HEV system, thus, creates a sustainable and equitable global economy. It is a system that values not just economic output, but the health of our planet and the education of its people. It's more than just an economic model. It's a vision for a better, greener, and more educated world. So, what does this mean for the future of our global economy and our planet? Let's take a moment to ponder that. We are at a critical junction where financial innovation is not just about economic growth, but survival. The Human Economic Value System, or HEV, presents an intriguing possibility for a future where economic prosperity aligns with environmental sustainability. Consider this: a world where the pursuit of knowledge isn't a luxury but a right, where education isn't a burden but a path to prosperity. With the HEV system, we could see a society where attending university doesn't land you in debt, but instead increases your income. This system not only incentivizes education, but also democratizes it, potentially leading to a more informed, engaged, and equitable society. But the benefits of HEV don't stop there. Let's turn our gaze to the global economy. For too long, economic inequality between nations has been a stark reality. But what if we could level the playing field? The HEV system proposes a new global currency, the omega, which could redefine global trade. By tying a nation's currency value to its land and forest size, we create an economic system that rewards sustainability and equality. This brings us to our planet's health. Global warming is no longer a distant threat, it's here, and its effects are palpable. But with the HEV system, we can combat this menace. By making trees the backing of our currency, we incentivize their preservation and growth. Imagine a world where planting trees isn't just a noble act, but an economic necessity. We could see the rise of a new oxygen economy where the fight against climate change becomes a cornerstone of our global economic system. With human economic value, we can not only cool our Earth by planting 1 trillion trees globally, but also revitalize our global economy. The future is in our hands and the time to act is now.